Welcome to the Fitness Mindset Podcast. Amanda Micallef here, helping people like you overcome life's setbacks to help you achieve your fitness, career, and life goals. This podcast has been proudly sponsored by my coaching practice, Divine Physiques Coaching, as well as Kyani and the Triangle of Health. To find out more about coaching with myself or more about Kyani and their incredible products, please shoot me an email. Link is in the description below. Thank you for tuning in to today's episode, and I hope you enjoy the content.
Guys, welcome back to episode number 34 of the Fitness Mindset Podcast. It gives me wonderful pleasure to be joined by the one and only nightlife king, Mr. Nick Russian. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having me. Nice to chat.
So, Nick, you come with a few accolades, I guess, if that's what you want to call them. So you pretty much run Melbourne's nightlife. You are married to a stunning ex-ballerina, Rosalia, with two beautiful kids. Apparently you were on reality TV at one point as well, so Temptation Island.
Once upon a time.
Yeah, I think they only had one season of that and then it kind of folded. So lucky.
That was enough.
We'll talk a bit about that. So you've been in the hospitality industry for quite some time now. You're probably more known these days for Together Events, which hosts some of the bigger events around Melbourne. And now you're actually running for Lord Mayor. So, I mean, what's the go, Nick?
Just like keeping busy. Now, look, it's thank you for the nice words, first of all. Very
okay.
Where do I start? Yeah, look, I've been involved with hospitality for, well, over 20 years. I was actually 15, 16 when I first started working in bars and clubs, picking up glasses and mopping up the spew and cleaning the ashtrays. So I did that during my school holidays. Yeah, I was 15 or 16 and feels like a lifetime ago. And from there led into working behind the bar, running bars, then started promoting at different venues, then started running my own nights, bought into a venue, sold out of a venue, bought into another, sold out of another.
Yep.
A big, my most recent venue was Eve Bar that I had for 10 years. That was, we won a lot of awards for that place. Yep. While I had that venue, I had the business infrastructure around me to start other businesses. Together Events, as you just mentioned, is one of those businesses that I started. We sold the nightclub, continued on with the Together Events, which continues to run a number of events over the summer period. Doesn't look like there's going to be a lot of events happening this season, unfortunately, due to lockdown. I'm involved across a number of different industries. I have a business in a recruitment labour hire company as well. A cleaning business that's not overly exciting stuff to talk about, but it's all I enjoy all forms of business. So for me, I find it all exciting. It's got a COVID cleaning division as well, which is going okay. Sold an education business a couple of years ago. So I've been involved across a number of different industries, and I am best renowned for my background in hospitality, but I like to think I have a broader knowledge of small business overall. And going back, I think about 4 or 5 weeks ago now, I was approached by some council members some people who are on the council for the City of Melbourne at the moment. And they approached me and they said to me that the current leadership within the City of Melbourne is a little bit detached there's a detachment between leadership and community and detachment between leadership and small business. They said, from my background in small business across a number of industries, as mentioned before, and also because I am involved in hospitality that's been significantly impacted recently, they suggested that they thought that I'd be a good candidate to run for Lord Mayor. And from my end, I was rather humbled that they thought of me in that way. It was nice to hear. I went away and I said, look, give us a little bit of time to think about it, which obviously I didn't have a lot of time to think about it, considering other candidates had already began their push for their campaign. I went and had a chat with my wife, who you mentioned before, Rosa, my brother, who's my business partner, and my other partners across my other interests. And my parents, always talk to my parents, and got everybody's support. And while I was still thinking it through, the story had leaked to the newspapers. When the newspapers got a hold of it, they wrote up it was a rather nice article they wrote about me. It was rather flattering. And I thought, I'll share this on my social media page and just get some feedback from people and see how everybody's feeling out there. And the number of people who reached out to me when I posted the article was just overwhelming. There was people who were pleading. Some people called crying on the phone because their businesses have been destroyed and they just feel like at the moment there's no hope. And current leadership, as I mentioned earlier, is detached from the realities of their life, of small business and community. And from the overwhelming support that I received, I almost felt compelled to give it a crack. And I've said it a number of times along these past couple of weeks, it's been great that there's been a number of leaders in industry who have made some noise in media and social media and everything. But I'm a big believer, if you really want to have a say, you need to get yourself a seat at the table. So, put everything together. Here we are. And here we are today. I said, yeah, let's give it a go.
Congratulations. So, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but did the election kick off on September the 22nd?
I don't even know. There you go. That's I don't know the exact date that it began. When was I approached? I can tell you exactly when I was approached. I can find out. But I guess the thing is, it's very similar. Launching a campaign is very similar to launching an event or a bar or a business or whatever it might be. You work out what your product's going to be. So your product being your different campaign policies and everything. You build your team around it. Then you actually build your marketing strategy and timelines and everything around it. And you go, okay, cool. Well, that's allocated for that part of the team, and so on. And then you go, boom. So for me, in running an event or launching a business, I'd usually have a significantly longer lead time to get all the pieces of the puzzle in order. But this time around, because it was so rushed, it was like, okay, we need to move fast. And we have. And so far, fortunately, we've had some great coverage and great, great feedback from media and from the general public and different community and business. So, yeah, so far so good. So far so good. I hope I'm not crapping on so much. But yeah.
No. It's great. It's great. So so touch wood, you get the role, you're Lord Mayor. How does it differ from, say, what Dan Andrews does? So obviously you're leading. So how much of Victoria or Melbourne do you actually cover? How much power do you have? And how does your role differ?
Good question, because a lot of people don't understand local councils. So the City of Melbourne, the Lord Mayor is the Mayor of the City of Melbourne. So the City of Melbourne voting zone is Melbourne CBD, Docklands, North Melbourne, East Melbourne, West Melbourne, Carlton, North Carlton, South Bank, Kensington, I think Flemington as well. Yeah, so I may have missed somewhere, but so it's only that pocket. So I've had enormous support from people. How do I vote? How do I vote? And I really appreciate all the kind words and wishes from everybody, and people have reshared things on social media. But yeah, the reality is you have to live in those areas or be a ratepayer in those areas or have business in those areas to be able to vote. And with each of the different councils across Victoria, we all work directly with the state government. So the overarching power still is the state government, but we liaise directly with them. And yeah.
And if you get the role, I mean, is it kind of like a 12-month stint until you might be re-voted in? Kind of, how does it work in that sense?
It's a 4-year term. It's a 4-year term. So every 4 years they put it all up in the air again and see if people like you or hate you or put you out for scrutiny. So it's a 4-year term. This recent leaders only had a 2-year term because the previous Lord Mayor had his term cut short due to circumstances that were, that was spoken about throughout the media. I think there was a sexual harassment allegation, but from what I understand, he ended up beating those allegations. But while he was going through that, he stood down from his position. So when he stood down from his position, they did a by-election, and then the current leader, she came in for a 2-year stint.
Okay, cool. So, where does all this drive for hard work come from, Nick?
Look, I actually think it dates back to when I was a kid, playing sport or being just really determined through playing sport. I was an athlete growing up, and I was just always a very competitive person. And playing sports, I had something on every night of the week. So I was always busy. I'd finish school, I'd come home and have footy training Monday night, Tuesday night, another footy club, Wednesday night, the same Thursday, Friday. There was something going on every single night of the week. So I was just sort of used to being busy my entire life. And then when I stopped playing sport, you're continually used to being active and busy, and I've actually got a busy brain just as it is.
Yep. I can kind of relate to that. Yep.
Yeah. You can tell when you speak to you that you've got a busy brain straight away from how people speak sometimes. And I started working in different industries over time, and my parents have always been such a massive influence on my life. So they just have always pushed me to give things a crack. So for me, finishing in sports to becoming a self-employed person at a pretty young age, the one thing that I learnt being self-employed was you can make some really great money, but at the same time, as much as you can make some really great money, there's so much risk that goes with it as well.
Yep.
So when I was running business, I'd see another potential opportunity, and I'd always look at it and go, oh, geez, that'd be an idea would pop into my head. So again, my parents, because they've always been, so behind me, you've got to give things a crack,
Have your parents personally been involved in businesses? So what's your background, Nick? Are you Italian?
Italian, yeah.
So where's your surname Russian come from?
Russian is how you're supposed to say it.
So, okay.
Yeah. So my father was born in Italy,
Yep.
on the border of Croatia and Italy, where his hometown is actually classified as Croatia now. But apparently from that part of where they are, that part of the world, the borders continued to change over the years. 1 minute it was Yugoslavia back then it was Italy,
right.
Then it was Syria, then it was, today it's Croatia. And at different times, it was under occupation by different countries. The story goes that hundreds of years ago, there was some Russian heritage. Okay, so they call somebody, there's John the Goldsmith, because that's what he did, or there's Nick the Russian, because that's where he's from. So that's the story that goes around it. How true it is, we don't know, but that's the story that's sort of been passed on over the years. So from a very very close Italian family. And
Interesting. And it's funny that Rosalia's background's actually Russian. And there's
Russian. I know.
yeah.
I know. Extraordinary.
Yeah, it was just meant to be. Now, so if you become Lord Mayor, what happens to your other businesses, Together Events, the cleaning business and what have you? I mean, are you still going to have others run that for you?
Yeah, I will. Yeah, I will. And that was one of the other, it was a main point that I discussed with the gentleman. His name's Philip Lee Lou, who's on the current Melbourne Council, who's on my team. It was the number one thing that I discussed with him. I said, look, I do have ongoing business interests. I said, can I continue to do these things? And he said, look, everybody who usually runs for these positions have something else going on in their life. He said, it's completely fine. So, and the other thing is, with my business interests, I have key people in key areas as well. So,
have you got a big team?
I don't have a massive team anymore. At one stage of my life, I had about 1,000 staff. It was
wow.
That was
phenomenal.
Going back 5 years ago across all the different
venues,
interests from I had bar staff, I had bus boys, I had cleaners, I had security staff, I had promoters, then I had full-time staff, 100 full-time staff working for an education business of mine. Then I had all the different casual staff I had working out on different work sites for the recruitment. So at one stage, we had a large team. As I mentioned earlier, I sold a couple of the business interests off over the last number of years. So no, I don't have a massive team anymore, but I have good key people in key positions now. So
okay, cool. Now, so what I've sort of seen online with yourself is that if you do actually get into becoming Lord Mayor, you're actually prepared to donate, is it half of your salary in the first year to mental health? Is that right?
Yeah.
Yep. So have you personally been infected by mental health? Do you know a lot of people that have been impacted? I mean, personally, I know myself, I've felt it. I know a lot of friends around me have been impacted in some way, shape or form by lockdown, by losing jobs, their businesses being crushed. I mean, it's pretty well known. And obviously how has it sort of impacted you personally?
It's been a huge impact on so many friends and family and everyone. They've been destroyed. And I think it's only going to get worse. For me, I'm very lucky. I'm a pretty strong-headed person, and don't get me wrong, there's times where I have my downs as well. But overall, I'm a very optimistic person overall. So I'm lucky like that. Not everybody's the same, and even people who are that way, some of them have had their businesses just taken away from them. So they've lost their livelihoods. Some of these small business owners have got their entire life savings in their business. They carry debt within their business. They're incurring further debt, and they've got no ability to trade. Sorry, my kid's just out in the street there. Sorry.
No worries. I've got to get my cat because my cat's fighting. One sec.
Sorry. That was good timing.
Oh my God, how funny. Hang on. Both of our kids went missing. My cat was punching on with someone else.
Oh, bloody hell, that was perfect timing. How funny, sorry. I've looked at, that's why I'm looking at, I keep looking outside all the time. I'm like, what's going on? He's bloody running out in the street, sorry. Oh, shit. Anyway, my wife's out there with him, so thankfully I've got...
That is so...
sorry, where were we?
So all right, so you've got that video clip where you're driving down Lygon Street and there's like a lot of police signs and stuff. I'd imagine you'd know a lot of restaurant owners and what have you. And is there any sign of recovery for them?
No, there's not. There's actually not. And even today with the announcements where you can have 20 people inside a venue and 50 people outside, hey, that's great, but it's still not sustainable. It's not the business still has its ongoing costs.
Yeah.
So it's just not sustainable. And then how about the venues that don't have any outdoor areas whatsoever? And then how about when it's raining outside? Like we're in late October and it's been raining and cold, and so it's still not sustainable. It's just it's people. Yeah, cool guys open up and make a loss. So no. Unfortunately, there's still no light at the end of the tunnel. Don't get me wrong. Today it was great to have some kind of move forward. Great to have a step forward.
Yeah.
But we need to move, and we need to move fast to get these doors open for all the places, so it's so they can start operating in a profitable way. Otherwise, they're going to be absolutely wiped out. And back to your earlier question about the mental health of people, I just see that it's going to be such an issue moving forward for the next, not just 1 year, 5 years, 10 years. Because what happens? Someone loses their job, or someone loses their business, their entire life savings down in the dumps, gone. Okay, they've worked their entire life to build this up, incurred debts. Okay, now the banks are repossessing their homes. Now they don't have a home for their wife and their kids. Then there's at home there's some family violence, or there's continual angst within the household. The families separate. The husband or wife or whatever, they're now no longer in touch with their kids. All these things, these are massive mental health issues that are going to be coming forward. And my deputy candidate is a gentleman by the name of Michael Burge, and he's received an OAM for his outstanding work in psychology and trauma. So I'm working side by side with him quite a bit at the moment with our plan moving forward for our mental health plan. So as you said before, I'm going to donate 50% of my first year's wage back to mental health if I get in.
So are we kind of allowed to know what that amount would be? I'm curious to know. I mean, you don't have to, Nick. It's entirely up to you.
Look, it's public knowledge. I don't know the exact figure. I think the Lord Mayor salary is about $210,000 or something like that. So I'd be donating half of that back in the first 12 months. So
do you have particular groups or charities that you'd be looking to donate to? What is your mental health roadmap, so to speak?
Yeah. Our roadmap is the framework. The framework is based around trauma. Again, speaking with Michael Burge, he said we're going to need to build a similar framework around the aftermath of trauma. He said, because this is trauma. He said, I will take this. He said he'll take a similar approach as he did with people he's worked with who come back from the Vietnam War, from people who have experienced trauma from the bushfires. He said it is all the same. It is all the same framework that we will be building around it. He said, but everybody experiences trauma in different ways. So our key thing is we're going to be setting up a mental health task force that's going to be reaching out to the community to get as much feedback as possible. So we can curate a package specifically for each pocket of people. Okay, so in particular, you've got different ethnic community groups who don't know how to currently access some of the free mental health packages that are available. And Australia is great in terms of what we do offer when it comes to mental health, but we believe there can be never too much help. And as we said, we're about pretty much knocking on every single person's door within the city of Melbourne to basically check up, are you okay?
Fantastic. I'm just for where I'm living currently, I'm just on the outskirts. So I couldn't even vote for you if I wanted to, but I really do want to help you, and I really want to help hopefully get you pushed into this position, because I think what you're doing is a much needed thing for Melbourne right now. I think people who probably never had depression are now suffering depression. I know personally my business was, my fitness business was heavily impacted. I'm actually having to move into state now to hope that I can get back to some form of normality. And
I feel for you. I really do. I feel for you. It's shocking.
You know, the bad thing, Nick, is that you know, people who are genuinely passionate about what they do are either forced to then either change careers now because they have to pay the bills. And I think that's actually quite sad that this is a result. What's your opinion on Dan's actions, how he's handled the whole situation?
I think it's been an enormous mismanagement. I think we'll look back in years to come and say that was potentially one of the greatest disasters in our state's history.
Yep.
And he's been one of the worst leaders in the history of our state, if not our country. Yep. He has been deplorable, absolutely deplorable. And
I couldn't agree more.
No consideration given to